Hello YouTubers, Retro Heaven 66 here. Today I'm going to talk about one of my favourite games, Flimbo's Quest on the Commodore 64. I was talking to a friend the other day about almost the impact what the game has had on me. It was the first game I ever played on the first computer I ever owned, which was the C64, and it changed my life forever, if that makes sense, you know, really being a game, but it did. It gave me a real taste for what was to come in games. I also reminded myself, I was talking to one of the members from Boys Without Brains who developed Flimbo's Quest years ago in the early 90s, and I was saying, you know, would there be any chance of making a sequel, you know, on the original hardware, seeming that the C64 scene in 2015, as it was at the time, is booming, and it is, and it has continued to boom for a long time now, for a good few years, you know, modern games coming out. And as luck would have it, he actually said to me, yes, Boys Without Brains was discussing a reboot, but for a modern day platform such as an iPad or iPhone. And he said they had big discussions and they came up with some drawings of how Flimbo would look in modern times, and he sent me some JPEGs across and they look stunning. And I said, well, you know, when are you going to get to work on this, because I'm such a big fan. I mean, I've even got a tattoo of Flimbo. And he eventually got to it that no, they're no longer going to be doing a Flimbo's Quest 2 or a reboot of the original, because the market isn't big enough for it. So sadly they put Flimbo's Quest to rest, even though they came up with some new drawings of how it would have looked. So as a tribute of my favourite game of all time, I'm going to just show you through the gameplay and the storyline now. So the gameplay of Flimbo's Quest on Commodore 64, it plays similar to Hawkeye, whereas you need to move left and right on each stage to retrieve scrolls, and the way you retrieve the scrolls is by defeating the enemies, be it snails or flies or odd strange sea creatures, but once you collect your scroll you simply return it to the shop, and the man in the shop, who I think of as a wizard, I'm not sure if any of you thinks the man in the shop looks like a wizard, but he turns the scroll into a letter, and once you've recovered a few of the letters you then go on to the next stage. I think it's how charming the sprites and the graphics are, is how the game gets away with being so playable. The actual gameplay itself, it gets a little bit tedious after a short while, because you're doing the same thing over and over again. But it's definitely how the game looks, in my opinion. It's yeah, it's a fun game to play, and it's, like I say, it's very nostalgic to me, and yeah, it brings back a lot of memories. I think that's why I keep returning to it. I completed it once a few years back and I felt over the moon, but in some ways I didn't feel over the moon, because I had no more intrigue about the game, you know, how further it went. But yeah, it's around 6 or 7 stages long, and it gets very, very hard as you go towards the end, and all of a sudden you'll get flying horses and odd things, obscure things like that flying towards you, and you've got 2 or 1 life left, and you're like, no, you know, I need to finish this level. So if you've yet to play Flimbo's Quest, or you probably have, that's why you're watching this video, but if you've not played it, then if you're a fan of Hawkeye, then I seriously urge you to play it. You'll like it. It's a nice platformer if that's your cup of tea, and it's just really well made. The music is another feature of the game, which is just spots on it. It's got some fantastic SID music in it, and you know, it's worth downloading the MP3s, you know, to listen to on your SID player. Yeah, fantastic game, and if you've not played it, then definitely give it a whirl.